Now I can see perfect.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor
Here.
Silva. Councilor Moretti.
Here.
Councilor Here. Councilor Winchell.
Here.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Third day of the budget hearings. Today, we're starting with Parks and Rec. Want to start off with that, and then we'll go to our
Yep,
city controllers.
yep, so we'll start out Parks and Rec, and as always, we'll go to the revenue first. If there's any questions or comments about any of the revenue lines, how we budgeted those, what those inclusions, questions, comments, and concerns. All right, moving on then to the expense sheet for Parks and Recreation.
Hey, Tom. You know.
Why? It's not bad.
We were talking.
You know why cool salaries were sold?
My salaries are so low. Because. Oh, who's, because we don't really pay them out at the end of the season.
No, the pool stands?
Yeah, is that lifeguards?
Yep.
I was just wondering why it was.
Oh, is yours still under? It's 37,802 now. That was, that was done in July, so,
Okay.
that would make sense. It was in the middle of the summer,
37,802
Yeah.
today.
year to date.
That's for the pool salary line.
I was asking why pool salaries year to date was so low.
It's just when we compared to that.
77.
Darren, is that-
64.
Somebody had it on the phone.
Anything else with expenses?
Any questions or discussion? Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
We have, to go along with that, right in there is the Cal expenses then, that's all that sheet.
Yeah, I can move over. I'm over.
Questions or comments about the Cal?
No, straightforward.
Takes us onward and forward to the Comptroller. How should we begin? There's a lot of, there's a lot of small ones in here, you know. Yeah, we can simply start, we'll start Comptroller revenue.
Just out of curiosity, what's the franchise tax? What is that?
We were just actually discussing that today. So that's the fees, for, what's the name of the company, Leanne?
Charter communication.
Charter Communications, they pay us to access our equipment.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a portion of their revenue.
Any questions about any of the revenue lines?
No.
Okay. Let's go down to, we'll go on next to civil service revenue. So, quite a note to, I think this is actually a pretty good win for the city. We looked at and evaluated, our HR manager and everything that she does for us and what her typical day looks like and all the civil service interactions she does, the amount of work that she does. And New York State provides a formula that we utilize to charge back to the school district because we have an agreement with them for their civil service and testing. So Jessica has very graciously taken that and done a wonderful job, fantastic job, for a long time now. And as Leanne and I kind of looked through and dug out this budget, we thought, man, one of the things that we don't feel, that I didn't feel that we were doing properly was appropriately charging for what her actual amount of work that she's doing. So what I proposed was changing her title from Deputy Comptroller to an HR Manager. It's an HR Manager that affords us the ability to take all of that stuff that she does in the totality of her time and hours and put that into the formula. So that's where that number comes from, as you see, an 8-year average from 9,154 up to 55. That's off the calculation from New York State. So that's an increase for us.
Ingenious. That's fabulous, right?
Well, I do not take all the credit. It was 100% a team effort, so.
It's great.
And the person that did the work is Jessica,
Yes.
so. I think
Good
thank you to her for
Yes,
actually
thank you.
sticking with us and doing all that.
So is it only coming from the school or is it coming from other sources?
From the district. Any questions about that, or? Okay.
It's great.
All right. Move on. Oh, it's got cut off.
Oh, these are just interfund transfers. These are the transfers from sewer and water for the services that we provide for them,
Got it.
from the general fund.
So water, sewer, interfund transfers. Mine got cut off at the top. I'm not sure if everybody's did. Apologies for that. 001, 0024, 5031. Any questions about interfund transfers or? All right, 1315 Comptroller. Okay, any questions from 1315 for the Comptroller side question? Okay. Move on to 1210 for the mayor. Yep, any questions or comments? Hasn't changed from last year, so. All right, 1010, Common Council.
No raises in there?
Second.
I'm just,
You are my bosses, you tell me.
I'm just teasing.
$1 line there. That was pretty big. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, no, that's a decision at your own discretion for what you folks would like to do.
we're public servants.
Okay. 1220, City Manager. Just out of general note of curiosity, out of the contracts line that I built into this, $2,000 is for the training, the ICMA training for management council ethics training for next year. So that's the line that I built into this for that.
Good.
Any questions? Okay. Move on to 1364, property acquired. Relatively straightforward line. Any questions about this one?
Nope.
Okay. 1420, legal. Any questions, comments? Maybe attorney fees or legal folks? Okay. Move on to 1430, civil service. You'll notice the salary jump there, that's because of the title change with Jessica's position, HR manager, so now that's included in the totality of civil service. Any questions about this page? 230, okay. Move on to 1680, IT.
All of IT is contracted out, correct?
Correct, yeah, Total Solutions is our provider,
We're sticking with them for next year.
so, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in that line, so computers, the replacement equipment for hardware and software, that's all paid on that line as well, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is all-
Tyler, finance, you know,
Mhm.
any of the software requirements used for municipality day-to-day, all of that is included in IT expense lines.
Are we up to date with all our IT stuff, or there's more improvements that need to be done?
So, great question, actually. The work is plentiful. We had our first tabletop exercise back in August, which was absolutely fantastic for the city. One of the things that came out of that was a identification of all the different ways in which we're either doing things right or doing things wrong. And I asked Total Solutions to provide us an actual write-up summary, which they did. I printed this off. I'm happy to make copies of this, but it's a pretty thick packet. But one of the things that's relatively telling here is, if you look at our infrastructure, all this red, this is non-compliance. So roughly 60% of our equipment right now is done, whether it's Windows 7, which is no longer supported. Yeah, or we have computers that are over 10 years old is also identified as a red column. You know, I didn't include I'll call it a tech refresh in this budget, some of the constraints that we have, you know, but I did want to bring this up because down the road, this is something we are going to have to address eventually. We've done a lot of great progress so far. We executed on the grant that we had this year for the cybersecurity. We were able to get the new servers installed. They're actually finishing up the installs next week. Multi-factor authentication, we have that. Everybody's been authenticated in new computer systems. And then we have the improved and secured Wi-Fi as well. So we've taken a number of concrete steps, especially given recently what we've seen in the news with some of these bad actors, state sponsors actually trying to attack small municipalities. There was just a recent article I had read about a water department out in, I believe it was Massachusetts, that of all places just got targeted by the Chinese government. And nobody was quite sure. They didn't really do anything wrong, but the fact that they could hack in was very disturbing. So taking this report seriously is something I've been working several months now on, and trying to upgrade the cybersecurity for the city is monumentally important. I will say one of the things we're doing right is the fact that we have a separate system for our water computers. So the fact that it's not connected to the rest of the city's servers and information is actually a benefit to us and provides us an extra layer of security. So they had a few positive things to say, but overall, we are looking at a 60%. I'll say we're behind the Powerball, 60% we got updates to the computers.
So with the service and upgrades, stuff like that, our security is much better, even though we have inadequate equipment.
So everything they identified in the tabletop, there's a few items they said you have to do these, like your server. If you don't change your server, you're gonna get hacked, essentially
Right.
what they said. So getting the server done and the multi-factor authentication, which are the top two items that were must-haves. We had to get those done. The cybersecurity grant, it simply got us over that threshold. It really funded the whole thing in its entirety out of that grant, which is great. We didn't expend any of their tax dollars for that. The Windows updates, that's going to be a trickier one. The Windows 7 computers are not supported at all. That's a huge issue.
If I'm not mistaken, besides that, they're probably not even powerful enough to do.
I can't even check. I just was on the phone this week. I can't even check my computer out earlier.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, what I mean is to upgrades, I don't know if the computer's even powerful enough to.
They may not be.
Yeah.
They may not be. So that's a hardware cost, and they kind of outline that in the report as well. And I can provide this to everybody. Certainly, it's really interesting read. But
Did their report include the expense to upgrade all of the non-compliant ones?
so they did not. I was kind of scared of the number after seeing the sheet, so I didn't even go down the road. But
Okay.
if I was to ballpark it for you, it's going to be over $100,000. But
Have you looked into grants or any other grants that?
there are. So we're going to be aggressively pursuing grants for cybersecurity because we're considering this cybersecurity upgrade still, getting off of Windows 7, right? So pursuing the grants and then potentially looking to budget these with the MFA and the server and the security of the Wi-Fi. Those steps were enough, according to our Total Solutions folks, that we're relatively secure now. Upgrading the equipment now is another aspect to it. So what I would propose doing is we do it incrementally, 10 computers, and then we budget again 10 computers, and we go about it that way. And rather than a total tech refresh, and we're spending $100,000 in one fell swoop. If we could look at, maybe identify, and they do in here, the oldest computers first, and then go and get those swapped out. So that would be my plan of action.
Are they
It's-
still gonna be able to communicate with the ones that are old? If we upgrade, that's another concern.
If they upgrade with the new server, I don't think it won't be an issue. Which is why we had to get that done first. So getting that installed is a big event here. They're gonna finish up the week of December 10th, actually, be fully online. So other than that though, that's really my biggest concerns with IT is what we've done, where we're going, and how we're gonna get there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions about IT? We move on to 1910, insurance. Relatively large increase this year. The initial from USI that we received about 3 months ago was a 24.45% increase. that was obviously sticker shock for us. We pushed back at USI and we kind of demanded, why is this going on? We did have a sit-down meeting with them to go over some of the issues and just kind of look at what's the cost drivers behind this increase. After a lot of back and forth, we were able to whittle it down to a 17% increase. So the 17% you're seeing is what's reflected in that number there for the city manager budget. It's unfortunate, but it's the way that all insurance rates are going right now. You know, I also had a couple different, our folks over at USI, they put together, again, very informative packet. It talks about the breakdown of our summaries, talks about claimants and cases, what we're spending, total claims versus compensation for everything we're doing with regression analysis and Medicare Advantage. So it really breaks it down into the fine nuts and bolts of why the cost increase is being passed on to us. But it's just another great thing to have, and I had them put this together for me as well. I'm sure we can get more copies of that distributed too. But it's very telling, right? It's a huge cost. Healthcare is a huge cost for the city. In the next year, we're going to have to evaluate healthcare costs across the spectrum for management and non-management employees alike, and what that looks like as far as, you know, commitments for premiums or rates. It's just the nature of the beast. But that's where that number's coming from right there, and that's what that increase is reflecting.
Do you see a lot of personnel, top cases, right?
Yeah, so,
Is that a pretty significant amount?
well, another good question, actually. I fired that. So, there's no personal information on here. This is
No,
all
yeah.
just, yeah, so, it talks about our claimants, right? So, the top 16 claims, just to give you an example, so last year we went from $6,900 for a claimant to $100,000 this past year. $6,500.
Medical care has increased too, so.
Yeah, $99,000, $2,300 to $99,000, $2,500, $92,000, $6,100 to $70,000, $5,700 to $62,000, and on it goes. It's very telling. It's very telling. So
What can we do as departments to minimize?
well, I have a few thoughts.
Okay, well, we probably.
Well,
Time.
No, it's a great question. It's ever since we got that 17% increase bill, it's been haunting us. One of the things that I've asked to sit down with my unions, and we have a meeting set up with the 3 unions. I'd have to forget it. It's in the next couple of weeks, let's say, but we're sitting down with them and our USI insurance provider because I need them to see what I'm seeing, and I would communicate to all of our folks in unions, this is what it's costing us, and this is what's happening. You know, there's recommendations, we can increase potentially the premiums, the contribution from employees is one way to mitigate some of that. There's just a lot of different options we're gonna have to explore, but we're gonna have to do that with all unions input. So it's gonna be a rather long pole in the tent, but this increase, double-digit increase like that, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it, and we're gonna have to do something to try to mitigate it. So next year, after this meeting that we have with the unions in a couple of weeks, my hope is that we can readdress this and maybe look at some of those options and how we can mitigate the costs.
I'm looking at more specifically workplace safety. Not necessarily employees paying more, but what can we do to prevent and workplace safety and educate the employees in how to work safely?
There's Jessica can probably speak to this, but there's a wellness program, didn't they?
Yes, and that wasn't reflective of any workplace injuries that we just went over, though, it's just our health insurance costs, because those weren't work-related injuries at all.
Okay.
We do have several safety initiatives.
Okay, just curious, I just want what our safety program looks like this year.
Yeah, that's this is all the discussion. I apologize. Just general liability insurance for the 314. That's
Yeah.
I apologize. That's got off on an insurance tangent. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. Move on to let's see, 1920 NICOM dues. That's the choice. Yeah, that's it. Any questions about NICOM dues? Great program, very helpful. Move on to 1989, printing. Any questions about printing costs and trying to keep that a relatively sustainable number for us? Okay, we go to 7522, city historian. Kept it the same as last year. Any questions about city historian? Okay. 9010 and 9011, ERS and the cleanup retired system. Yeah. Again, small lines, relatively straightforward. If anybody has any questions about 9010 or 9011. Move on to 9030, 9035, Social Security and Medicare. You can see the slight uptick that we were projecting there for 26. Again, it goes in line with the cost of health insurance, healthcare in general. It's increasing here. 9040, workers' comp. Any questions about workers' comp or all that entails? Go to 9710 for debt service. Debt payments and interest on debt payment. That's the only issue we gotta deal with there. Standard. And then 9785 leases. Questions about any leases? Any leases to the city?
This doesn't include anything we talked about like yesterday.
As far as
Sure, apparatus.
no, correct, yeah. So I did not budget for the apparatus upgrades or any sort of line for it. That was just general discussion for the group to see, what the temperature was and what you all thought about it. But yeah, these are just the current vehicles that occupy the current contract. Oh, and then health insurance. Yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent on insurances in general. I apologize. Anybody have any discussion with health insurance? Anything else I can provide or illuminate on? Okay. Well, that's the individual departments. I just open up to general discussion now. Pick out the ideas and see what you folks think and thoughts, questions, comments, critiques, anything we could take away, add.
I'd like to add, 2 positions in the police department. That's it. I don't know what everyone's thoughts are.
I definitely think we need at least another officers on file too.
Mhm.
That's the consensus, but I think 0 where it's at now definitely doesn't work for me.
Agreed. He asked for 4, so I figured meet him halfway.
Yeah, honestly.
I thought about that too. I kind of agree with 2, but we'd have to make up the difference somewhere else.
So we're at,
I don't know.
No, I just.
so we're right at 6.
As the budget presented is right now, it's at 7%.
So
we need to make a decision with the tax cap levy and how and what we're gonna cut out, if that's really something that isn't gonna pass. I don't know what we're cutting out
$450,000 we gotta cut out.
to get,
This is the
Under the
biggest
tax cap.
budget I've ever been in.
It's bare bones. And just to let everybody know, and Leanne can speak to this if a little bit more. We took out 1.4 million from the general fund.
That's correct.
This is as of July, or is this more current?
It's more current.
Okay.
I believe there's some more, for the upcoming agenda, and obviously we have more meetings throughout the year. But, at this point, yeah, we're at 1.4.
So, yeah, so prior to last year, the percentage of the general fund to budget was 31.76%, and we're down to 19.67%. It's very serious. We have to raise taxes.
So the budget that I presented with 7% takes nothing from our fund balance. So it's really important to note that.
Right.
I'm trying to preserve and protect
Right.
that as much as possible.
And that only gets us back to 20.02.
Right, that puts 10,000 back in.
Yes.
Correct. So this budget stabilizes us, it ensures continuity of operations, it meets the current level of service delivery for all of our residents, keeping it at a 7% rate. So
In 22, we did 0. 23, we did 2%. 24, we did 2.4. Last year, we did 7.5, but because of the mistake with the,
Misinterpretation.
misinterpreted, yeah. We couldn't utilize that, which is why we had to dip into reserve, which brought us below the 20%. We were at 35%, 36% actually in 21 because of the influx of COVID money. We've ate up 15% of the reserve.
So the money that was collected, what will happen with that?
We'll go back in fund balance, but that'll only bring us back to the 20%.
oh no, you mean
In
the taxes,
The
right?
taxes
That
that
was
were
put-
collected.
That was put in a separate, bank account, and that is on your tax rate sheet. It reduces our levy, as instructed by the OSC.
So those taxes, essentially we held on to them for the year, they get applied to these years later.
So they will count towards.
They already have.
they already have.
Correct.
Yes, it's already accounted for.
What type of percentage to put 2 more officers on, go with them?
Roughly, yeah, about 4%.
So that would bring us up to 10, we're at 6 right now?
Or 7?
7, so 11.
Yeah, that'll be us 11. Officers, overtime, you know, if you look at the overtime in this budget, you really cut it down.
Right.
Yeah,
It just means it's gonna get purchased out of general fund next year.
We won't be able
it's
to,
all, it's all that time.
you won't be able to utilize any general fund money next year when you're sitting at 20%, because at the end of December, your resolution expires, and your resolution is you need to have 20% at all times in the bank of your budget. We're sitting at 20.02 with absolutely no use of fund balance, and no budget amendments would be allowed.
The situation is dire.
In the few years that I've been here, we're saying the same thing every year, that next year, we're not gonna borrow as much from the general, next year, we're gonna put it back, next year, we're gonna hire more officers, so that's just my brief experience in the last few years. We've been saying the same thing every year, and every year I feel like we get here and we go, all right, well, okay, well, we'll do next year then. We're like, I feel like we're at the point where we can't do next year.
We can't keep kicking the can down the road, as we said it last
I'll be
year.
here for 2 more years. I don't
We
wanna
have
see 2 years from now going, we need 6 officers, we need 8 officers this year, you know, we have to go up 12% because we did. My brief experience doing this, I've seen more than a few times where we've kicked the can down the road too far and it ends up costing us more in the long run because we didn't fix it back when we had an
Right.
opportunity.
But to Leanne's point, we can't fix it. We have to
Exactly.
plan now because
We
there's
can't.
nothing to
Yeah.
be taken
There,
out.
there is no general
We-
fund to just deal with.
We will have to start cutting services and positions if that happens.
Yeah, so the delta between tax cap and where I'm at December 2nd, the presented budget was about $450,000. It's steep, you know. I don't know where that would come from. Seen budget.
Just to reiterate what the chief said too though, what is the actual dollar amount? Cause I feel like a lot of us, we talked about this for these new officers, and we talked about the raise from like 7 to 11. When we talked about per household, I know you mentioned it at the police meeting, but do you know exactly, I know we said it was like 12 or something, but, can you just, what was that again? Because I feel like that's really important, because I know sometimes people, and I mean too, I see 3%, and I think sometimes if I see the dollar amount versus, you know, another officer on the streets versus
Right.
physically what it's gonna cost me out of my taxes next year,
Yeah,
to look at
great
it that
point.
way.
Great point. So this is all, rough math in my head here using general numbers, but, looking at that 4% overage, if you added 2 more officers, as proposed right now, it would be per assessed, $100,000 assessed value, it would be about $86. That's what the tax rate would be right now. If you add another 4% onto that, the actual legitimate number. Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
11%.
Yeah.
$100,000 house in the inside district would be $135, $135.21 for the year, and outside district $68.36.
$135.
And that's at 11%,
Correct.
So
adding 2 officers.
Yes.
That's the one from 86%.
135.
And there is still the hope too, like Chief said as well, that the overtime could hopefully go down too, if that works out too, because I know we've had some wild overtime, overtime was
Yeah,
wild.
there's no guarantees there.
Yeah, like I said, there's no guarantees, but
Yeah, we've
it's gotta, I mean, it can't hurt to have, I mean, another physical body can't make it go up, like it's gotta do something to it.
I feel like
I mean, you can speak to that.
It all depends on what the calls are, and,
Exactly.
what happens. I mean,
Ranks.
should we speak on the
just as
budget?
an example, we see officers sitting down at the shooting.
So it's $50,000.
Yeah, structures, we have an officer sitting in that house for 24 hours.
So you're saying $450,000?
Or whatever.
Yeah,
Until
we
the
don't
next-
override the tax cap levy. We have to cut $450,000 on what was presented to us,
approximately.
up roughly.
Roughly, okay. So the 2% is the levy, that's not the tax rate. So what does that put us at as a tax? Say it doesn't pass, what does that put us at a tax rate increase?
It was 3.9.
It's a reduction. It's a reduction of 1.1% in your tax rate.
Okay, so it'd still be a 3.9% tax increase.
No,
It'd be a reduction of 1.1%.
Okay, so 6.
Because-
No, a reduction of your current taxes
Total,
down
not
1.1%. You would have to drop 8.1% from where we are right now in this budget. That's why it's $450,000.
Okay, you have to drop 8%.
what's proposed minus the what was it, 1 point?
What's proposed, so minus the 7,
Right,
minus 1.1.
1.1, thank you.
So if we don't override the tax cap, we will have to, in order to maintain this budget, we have to do another resolution to lower the general fund. Because it's supposed to be 20% at all times,
Correct,
and we'll go below that.
Correct.
So we're gonna have to do another resolution at the end of this year.
correct. Which, if you just keep in mind also just that you do intend on long-term borrowing for your wastewater treatment plant at a $55 million project.
Impacts.
And fund balance usage and seeing that drop and seeing a resolution like that does sometimes have an impact
Right.
on your creditworthiness.
Exactly.
But we're just keep pushing the can down the road.
No, I know, I'm just trying to
No, I
speak out
know
loud
that. Yeah.
what's gonna happen if we don't. People need to know.
So is there a way for adding 2 officers to make up all or some of that difference somehow? I mean, I just don't understand why, one of the things here is why we need 2 senior operators in the DPW. We've never had 2 before, why do we need 2 now?
Well, we had 2 before, then we moved 2 to management because Scott was leaving, or,
Hoffman?
we moved 2 to management because Hoffman was leaving and 1 to trained staff, and then we move them back down to.
Right.
So I don't,
Yeah, we reduced the MBOs too.
You reduced your MBO by a position to account for your
From-
senior
Yeah.
MBO position, for the
Yeah.
additional.
I can't find it. Yeah, it looks here, yeah, senior MEO last year was budgeted for one, now we're budgeted for two this year.
That's, as I said. We had two because, or,
We temporarily had two supervisors.
Two public works supervisors last year and
For
this year there's
training.
one.
there's two, there's one, and we went back down to.
Senior MEO.
But again, it says two senior EMOs for budgeted 2026.
And there's 9 motor equipment operators instead of 10, as last year as well.
So instead of having two seniors, we have, go back to 10 motor operators.
Again, you got
I
that.
mean, that's not a lot of money, but it's, yeah, my other question is Mason. I mean, it looks like we're contracting out a lot of our concrete work. I mean, laborers can do masonry work. I don't understand why we would necessarily need a mason.
Well, under civil service, that would have to be, you know, a description of the job and what that entails and what they were hired for. No, it's more of a unique question.
But we can still eliminate that position if we want to.
Had required renegotiating contract.
Mm-hmm.
Mason's the one that does like struck the manhole covers, storm drains,
Curves.
curbs.
Yeah.
How about this, do we have any vacancies currently?
Yeah.
With the city?
We do have a couple, assistant city engineer. I'm highly recommend not getting rid of that. Our city engineer is retiring in 7 months. For purposes of succession planning and continuity and scale of operations. The assistant city manager is gonna be a crucial fill for us. I don't know how long it's gonna take to get a city engineer, but if it's like any of the other positions, it's going to be a while.
So that's currently vacant? I thought we
Yes.
didn't promote somebody.
One of our employees took the exam,
Oh, okay,
was qualified, yeah,
okay,
and they are an applicant right now, but no, it is not.
So it could be filled there.
okay.
It could be, yes, it could be, but it is not current.
So that's one, what other vacancies?
We don't have any vacancies in public works.
A couple of them?
We don't have
Oh,
any
we don't have
vacancies
any.
in public works.
How about other?
Code enforcement officer, again, we've had that advertised for a while. We do have a couple applicants, we have interviews set up for next week. That's been something we've really struggled to fill. We do have some good applicants for that as well. One individual is actually a currently certified code enforcement officer, so that would be an ideal situation. But again, desperately needed.
Wait a minute, so we have one vacancy, but this says there's only one that's budgeted. Code enforcement officer.
The housing inspector.
And code enforcement, also new decisions you can see, I think.
Oh, yeah, it says housing inspector, yeah, that's the vacancy.
So
It's-
that housing inspector is.
Yeah, so we had no applicants for housing inspector, and we changed it to code enforcement officer. I think we have 3 or 4 now.
So does that change the budget then?
It shouldn't.
Because housing inspector is 54,000, code enforcement 78.
So essentially, we're gonna have 2 code enforcement officers and no housing inspector.
Correct. The housing inspector, I presented that, trying to mitigate the cost, obviously, less requirements, less certification, cheaper salary. But we had no applicants for that.
So that would add 25,000 to this budget then, right?
Yes,
So we're at
25, or they're not gonna be making what the other one makes sure out the gate, right?
Well, it's a civil service, it's a union
Yeah.
rate, so depending on if there's longevity or anything else, but that would be the only differences.
So we're at 7.25%.
7.25, correct.
Keep going the wrong way. What other vacancies do we have?
We have assistant city engineer, code enforcement officer, and currently we are looking for an assessor.
But our assessor's leaving.
Just gave her notice.
Okay. Is there any way we can consolidate that somehow?
Sure, yeah.
Any options?
Well, it'll cost, whether you contract, you could potentially contract the position out.
Or maybe combine with another town or something like that?
What was that for?
For the assessor.
Assessor.
The assessor, yeah. We have reached out to Stockbridge to speak with them. I forget the one's name, but speak with them. Yeah. And then there was, next week, we have another individual coming in to talk with us as well. So, you know, everyone has, we'll see. I'm optimistic, but trying to fill it is, and especially this time of year, is a must need for us. Whether that's combining it and just doing a contract out, some sort of intermunicipal agreement with another town, or doing it as a contractual basis.
Right.
Those are really the only ways to mitigate it, but we do need an assessor.
Yeah, January to June coming up on our busiest season.
Yes, January is gonna be here before we know it.
Mhm.
Ideally, I'd like to have something in place before then, hence the reason we've already advertised for the position. So it's a tough one.
Didn't we talk, so you're essentially putting an account clerk in the Chamberlain spot? Is that-
Correct.
So didn't we talk at one point about combining maybe assessor duties and filling in Chamberlain spot? Is that something we could do to?
Probably during the off-season of the assessor, because she has been helping in Chamberlain's office
Yeah,
pretty regularly.
So Chamberlain will be busy January.
yeah, so January through April is their busy season, both the assessor and the chamber. Yeah.
You need a body in each place.
Yeah, that's a lot for just a single person.
And they're both very specialized positions too, so I don't know how you would find somebody to share those duties.
Yeah.
And manage it effectively.
And keep in mind too, that you know, account clerk we hired for the Chamberlain position, this individual is actually doing a lot more than just taking in money. It's
He's great.
He's fantastic. He's doing a lot for us. He's involved in the Comptroller's office. He's helping out every facet of it that he can. So we're getting a lot more value out of the position already,
Great.
which is fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta come up with some ideas then. So you guys wanna do 2 officers, so that puts us at 11.25%.
I don't know, I'd be okay with maybe one officer. We had a pretty big budget this year. It's tough.
I think we got one, that would be reasonable. Be reasonable. I don't know.
Can't do zero.
No, we can't do zero. I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with you on that.
I will say with one, that gets us through the next time, because we have the retirement coming up. 6 months, so.
Right,
And
Um,
like, I think he said September would be at least even the earliest that that person would be.
Correct.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
As soon as someone gets through the academy, somebody else leaves and retires.
Well, they put in for a civilian position, so why don't you use part of that?
I think that's the evidence, isn't it? That's the evidence.
That's the evidence.
Just
It's
an
still
officer
being
that
stretched.
gone through, I'd rather not.
Well, we have the personnel matter too that we can't speak about here, but
right,
we have to address.
Exactly.
That's why that's in there, because you're totally right, Councilman Moretti, I had it out of there, I cut it, and
Sure.
yeah, with everything going on, we had to throw that back in there.
so if we do one, it's 9.7 out of the 10.
Now, the evidence custodian officer, the evidence custodian, that is a specialized, I'm thinking that is specialized.
Yes.
Yes, that's what he said last
Yeah,
night.
yeah, if I'm not right, okay.
I still
If
think
we do
that's-
one, it's 9.7.
It's a lot.
It is a lot,
I
but
can't-
what are you gonna do? I mean,
I can't
it's
do
bare
that 2
bones
years in
budget
a row.
already.
It can't be bare bones if it's 7% or 10%.
No, it can be if inflation increases all the contracts and everything else, that 100% can be.
Yeah, the contracts, but you did a nice job cutting the expenditures. But,
Just healthcare and retirement, $400,000 increase for next year.
right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's over $100,000 in raises. That's what it
How
needs to
many,
be.
how many people that work in the city?
Mhm. No, I'm just talking management.
Over 100.
Over, yeah.
I'm just talking
1,500.
management.
It's up management.
Just in management.
12, 13. Approximately.
And maybe those should be staggered through the next couple of years.
Well, we kind of, we wanted to have evaluations for our employees.
Yep.
And we haven't had that in place, and now we do have evaluations and.
Wasn't there supposed to be written evaluations for
What's that?
the man, you were gonna do written evaluations for
Yes, sir.
their,
Yes,
for their raises?
yes, sir, performance
The
based.
performance
Do
based,
we have
yes.
those available, or,
I do have them, yes, yeah.
I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, because it seems like, you know, everybody's getting a raise, I mean,
Yeah, CSEA, usually we give out 3% raises to everybody every year, right? Contracted,
Sure.
yeah.
That's reasonable, yeah.
Right.
The contractual raises with fire police chief, you know, I couldn't give them the 15% that they got respectively, I couldn't do that. So I had them down to the number that they're at 11, is what I thought to be a fair compromise. Also based off of market rate wages for other police chiefs and fire chiefs in comparison to municipalities across the state of New York. That puts them just about the average with that. So, again, without going into specifics with performance, you know, we have the evaluations, we can read them.
I'm showing all these raises are like 6% and above, 6, 8, 12, 15, 25.
There's longevity too, keep in mind,
Sure.
changes.
No, just a thought. I can't do 11% on my work.
Of the 100K raises, do we even know how much, do we have an idea of how much of that is even contractual that we couldn't change if we wanted to? We're talking about, cause we couldn't, even if we wanted to, we can't cut 100K in raises, even if we said nobody gets a raise this year. That's the total of it, right? That's not what we can.
Management, that's
Yeah,
management.
it's just
that's, okay, that's the,
Yeah,
so those are just the management ones, so those are what we could do, if no one got one, you could do, you know.
we have to tighten our belt for a year.
I don't feel right about doing that. They've worked hard and they need a cost of living increase at least. We can't expect
What's the cost of living?
Yeah, it's cost.
3%,
Okay, then why are they getting 12, 15?
because some of them are performance based, which is what we asked for years ago, and we finally did it, and now we're saying we're backtracking on it.
When you do performance based, you don't tell them that the number tied to the performance is.
Yeah.
with the salary increases.
I mean, in the
With the
civilian,
salary
civilian world,
increases,
you don't see
well,
12% increases, you see
without-
5 at the
yeah.
most, 5 to 8 at most.
What is the?
Well, it
so-
depends on their
so-
performance.
Even with
What's your
great
budget
performance, you
for
still
this year?
don't see that kind of increase.
I don't know,
You don't know what your budget's going up this year?
a couple million,
What percentage is the sheriff's department budget going up?
let's see.
So just to, great point from Leanne, even with the proposed salary adjustment here for management, we're still almost $30,000 less than we were last year because of the positions and the movements we have.
12%.
12%. That's the budget we worked on, right?
You can't compare, unless you wanna start comparing county to city. We
What
could
would
do,
you like to compare?
we could,
I mean,
You're
cost
comparing.
of service for sheriff's department to a city of Oneida, do you wanna compare?
you're comparing.
Yeah, I am, I just compared that. You said the budget never goes up that high, when your budget that you work on is that high.
Okay, if we're gonna do departmental, we can do that.
I don't know what you mean departmental.
You're looking at one department within the entire
I'm
budget.
just saying you work on this budget,
So-
but you're
so-
saying that you can't go higher on our budget for our city, but you can do that for the county.
So what, if the county goes up, what's the county going up, Andrea?
It's just,
I don't remember.
Like 3%?
right, but the county went up what
They went
last
in-
year?
They went up a lot last year.
10% last year, 8%?
I don't know what they come up with.
Yes.
Okay,
It happens, it happens.
and we went up 7.5,
We actually, we collected 7.5.
yes. And we're gonna go up another 7.5. So there's an ebb, but there's no flow. It
We've
just
had
keeps-
for, what were the numbers? Go ahead, tell me something, right? 0 to,
In 22, we did 0. In 23, we did 2. 24, we did 2.4. Back 21, we did 4. Going back from there, it was 6, 3.5, 5, 1.9, 6.4, 7.7, 1.6, 5.9, 3.7, 0.5, 10, back in 2010. So
it does that.
it ebbs and flows.
And the
And
10,
the 4 years of keeping taxes at a
Yeah.
very good rate during the highest inflation in our countries.
I mean, 3% would be nice. 3.5 would be nice.
Okay. So what are we cutting out?
As a base.
I agree.
I think that's a base, as a cost of living increase, and then it should go up from there based on their performance.
No, I'm saying total budget.
real quick to the point though, when he said all those numbers, and he gets to 10, I think most people would rather it be 2, 2, 2, 2 than 0, 0,
Right.
6, 4, 10. I think when we talk about, and when we say that we can't do it every year, unfortunately, this is the catch-up year because of the years that we said we're not gonna do it every year. Like, if this was the 3rd year in a row that we were doing this, by all means, I would be like, absolutely, it's gotta stop. The same way the 0, 0, 0s years have to stop when, because the same thing with everything from fee schedules and things like that. How many things have we come across that haven't been updated in 20 years? And instead of giving the community a slow, steady increase, we're trying to give them a big jump and say, hey, sorry, but we haven't done it in 20 years, so we have to do it now. And same thing, kicking the can, we used to kick the can on the thing.
We need apparatuses, we need computers, we need all these things to just keep kicking it down, cutting people.
Playground equipment.
Like,
We cut out the playgrounds from the budget. I'm not happy about that, but it's a responsible choice.
it's tough. I don't know what to do either. I don't like that big number either, to be honest with you, but I don't know what else to do. I think this is.
You have to understand, Ward 2 pays the highest in taxes, so I gotta be reasonable. And, if that means tough decisions, and
They also paid the most for their houses too. I mean, just
Right.
pay on how much you
but the taxes are
can afford.
10, 11, 12,000 a person.
That's not, that is even not
More than
even
that,
an
14,
accurate statement.
15,000,
Just
you know,
because you
it's
make
now.
more doesn't mean you have more.
You have more to spend on a house than,
Loans.
People's,
People borrow.
you know, maybe they.
I 100% get it, but if you have, again, it's just the tax rate. If you're gonna be in a very expensive house, you're gonna pay
Well,
a
then,
higher
okay,
tax
let's
rate.
look at it
That's-
this
is
way.
what it is.
The taxes are going up for the county, taxes are going up for the state, taxes are going up for the city.
Yep.
Taxes of water is going up.
Mhm.
Gas is going up, fuel's going up, electricity is going up, but where does it stop?
What's
So we have to be the ones that cut our throats?
We want to
Right.
cut our
Cut
throat,
our
we have to
throats.
be
It's not on
reasonable.
their throats, we need to be reasonable.
We have, so what, take out a fund balance until it's gone? And then
We
what?
pay, so, all right, your tax bill is comprised of the city, the county, and the school. The city is the smallest portion of that bill. And that is what affects the residents the most day to day. It's the city tax bill, which is the smallest part of
School
their tax
budget's
bill.
over 55 million, city budget under 30.
We're giving fair services now. We're at minimum staffing for fire. We're below staffed for what people want for police. We give minimal, we try our best to increase parks and recs programs, but runs pretty minimal.
I mean, I think our services are pretty good. You're saying they're not good?
We're giving the minimal we have. There's nothing left to cut, is what I'm saying. And the smallest portion of your tax bill is what you get the most service from as a resident in the city.
It can be, just because they're good now, they could be better, you know, like, who knows what you can do with more money, I mean,
We got,
Of course.
I'm not saying
we
they're
got
not.
3 people running around.
That's what I mean, it's tough, because that's what we try to do everywhere, we try to say, how can we get more work for less money?
All I'm saying is,
Every employer in the world tries to do it.
let's try to, all I'm saying is let's try to be reasonable, because that's all I hear from my people, the taxes. I can't do it, I can't keep doing it.
What number would you guys be okay with?
So I'm good with like a 3.5.
How do you get that?
How do we get there?
What do you wanna eliminate?
That's what we need to figure out. But you guys can't keep saying no.
What's the,
Well, the only thing
We
we
did
got,
this
Well,
last year.
the only way you're gonna get there now is cutting personnel.
No, let's look at
So I guess
vacancies
that's
first.
one of the suggestions I had was let's cut a mason.
Well, let's do vacancies instead of affecting
It's
employees.
like we hire it out most of the time anyway, we hire out the sidewalks and everything else.
yeah,
but then wouldn't that just increase the outsource, if we,
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, somebody still
Overtime.
has to do the curbs, whether we outsource it or we pay the person, wouldn't eliminate.
that person just doesn't do concrete.
Well, I mean, I'm just using that as the example, whatever they do as the job, even if we eliminate the position and then outsource it, it doesn't
All the
change.
laborers can do concrete.
Well, no, still you have to pay someone, or,
How do you know that all the laborers can do
Well,
concrete?
It's not a job.
That's,
Yeah,
I mean,
in the civil
that's-
service
that's a
law.
Stretch.
So you make it their job description.
You can't just make it their job description through civil
just do
service.
that.
They're a laborer for the city. When you're a laborer in a construction company, you do whatever your boss asks you to do.
That's a
That's
100% true.
private
Yeah, you're in
company.
private
You
industry.
know,
This is
and
not.
you need to
not
run the
private.
city like a company, not like.
We
That's
can't,
not
we're
how
tied to
it
unions,
works.
we can't just make that
We
decision.
can cut,
Unions
according to
say
the
different things.
union, we can cut the mason position. If you look at the union contract, we can cut positions.
We can't tell them what their job description now is.
Right.
You are correct, sir, we can cut positions.
We can.
What you are proposing is layoffs. You are correct, we can do that.
But
I
then
don't
you're
support
losing-
that.
Proposing
at all.
look at vacancies first.
We have 3.
Is that it, 3 vacancies?
Assistant engineer, assessor, and code enforcement officer.
So we have the assistant engineer as a vacancy, but we don't have anything budgeted for the civil engineering tech anymore, right? So essentially, if we cut the assistant city engineer, we don't have any assistant in the city engineer.
Okay, and then
At all.
also,
There's nobody to help me.
you said there will be a retirement next year? Did we budget for that retirement, or did we budget for a full year?
We budget the full year for that salary line at the current rate for that gentleman.
So if he leaves mid-year, we would have to assume that we hire somebody the day after.
I would like to have overlap, but I'd like at least a transitional period of 90 days.
So then if we have overlap, do we need the vacant assistant position?
well, that person's only gonna be there for a couple days or a couple months, so I just assume we need it for the rest
How
of the
much
year.
overlap are we looking at?
Well,
Just said 90 days.
I have like 90 days, but I mean,
So that would
Could
mean
you-
cutting the position, and then the engineer would have nobody in his department to assist him.
yeah,
What
we
was that?
could, yeah,
We've been there before and it did not go well.
No,
We lost 2 engineers because of that.
Laying
Mhm.
the civil engineer.
And we'd be laying our current one off.
who's great,
Was,
by the way.
Yes.
I don't wanna,
I don't-
I don't wanna lay anybody off, I
Real-
wanna, I
real-
wanna look at maybe.
Real quick, just for me, sorry, humor me here. We're trying to get the difference of like, where Steve wants to be at 3.5, where the 8, we're like talking 4.6%. What are we talking again, dollars? So it's like, I wanna keep going back to this, sorry, for me and my,
So we're at
My brain.
9.7.
yeah, no, I'm saying the 4.6 difference. What are we talking dollars on, dollars? And
It'd be 9 with 1 off.
we were saying like, what, 2% is $12 or something? I'm just saying, like, to get, what are we talking before, what would be about 4.5? I know, I'm just
If you
like,
want to know what 4.5 would be, I can calculate
Just-
that. for
just-
you.
I'm saying, like, you said what, $12, 2% was a roughly $15, $15, just say 30, so we're talking about $45 per 100? Is that the,
I think it's like 52.
yeah, whatever, it is. I'm just trying to, just so, like, for some of us, cause I know a lot of people say to me that they don't do the percentages, that they like to hear dollars, when you hear, we're arguing over 4% change in the taxes, but what does that actually mean to somebody who's paying taxes? We're talking about roughly less than even on a wide.
It's like every percent,
Less than $100.
every percent is like $12, right?
It's $49 for 4%. It would be a
That's like-
$49 increase for 4%.
$12 a percent, right?
Yeah.
And so we're talking,
And that's annually.
And
so we're talking about
Per
having to
100,000.
absorb an
Per
extra,
$100,000.
Per
per $100,000.
So
Even on 300,000 at home, we're talking still less than $200 a year.
for which?
I'm saying if for the 4%, like what we're talking about, what we're
Are
trying.
you talking a 4% increase?
No, I'm
Or
saying.
You're saying
Steve was at
4% less than the
3.5. Steve was at-
9.7?
I was just ballparking roughly. We were at like 8.1 with the officer or whatever.
We were at 9.7.
9.7, I mean, or 8.1
So
without
that's-
the officer. 3.5 is where he wanted to be. I'm just trying to figure out like what we're talking about. For,
So that's without the officer.
yeah, without the
Okay.
officer though, I'm just saying like to roughly cut 5% what we're talking about doing.
Gotcha.
I'm just trying to put it into a dollar.
So it'd be like 40, so it's $46 from 86, so it's $40.
So if we didn't do that, people would have to absorb
For
almost
$200,
almost $100.
That's $98.
That's $100 for the year.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm mentioning, so that's what,
$10 a month.
cause I just, for me, even before
So
when
what is
before I was
it?
involved with this, I'd see percentages and be like, whoa, but if somebody said to me,
Understood.
$100 a year,
Mhm.
okay, cause it
Yep.
just,
Say
So,
we
okay.
say we don't hire the one officer, then what's the, how far away are we to 3.5%?
Would be 8.6, well, that's what we were just talking about, it's 8.6 to the 3.5, right, because we're at 8.6.
So
It's
you're
5 point,
You're
so,
talking without adding the extra officer.
Yeah, so
And with the, well, again, what was it, with,
Even if we don't add another officer.
with one officer is how much again?
I'm sorry?
With
one officer was the 9.7, right, 9.7%?
So it's over 2%.
I think it's, what, 90?
So with an officer right now, we're looking at 9.2%.
One officer.
9.7, Yep.
So,
We're at 9.25.
9.25, that's with
With
the
an
officer.
With
one.
officer. In addition.
What about without one?
Without one, again,
7 to
But I won't agree without one officer. We gotta have one officer at least. I'm with Bill on that one,
Mhm.
actually. At least one.
if we can agree
That's,
quickly on one.
I'm good with one, I'd prefer two, but
I would prefer two also.
Mhm.
I agree with one.
I think the buckets, yeah.
I do, want to do that four.
You know, agree on that, okay.
Mhm.
But now what do we do? You know, what do you,
So you were not
But,
willing to go
again-
over the 3.5?
I'd like to be around 3.5.
an officer's 2, without even looking at it.
Right. You said cost of living was 3% roughly. and we're looking at 12-15% raises.
I also wanna remind everybody too, I actually looked this up today. The comptroller says that, the levies cannot be increased for, it has to be emergencies only. It cannot be increased because of salaries. Actually, I did look it up today. The comptroller does state that. It's
You
not
have to
supposed to.
offset, you're supposed to offset your expenses by your tax rate. So whatever you change your expenses are, you're supposed to offset it with your tax rate to
Right,
have a
but the-
balanced budget.
Right, but what I was reading and what was explained to me was you can't increase past the limit just because of salaries. It has to be an
I
emergency.
think
No,
we're
we're-
increasing
yeah,
because of
this-
insurance, because of a lot
Yeah,
of-
salaries are
Right.
not,
Conservative-
salaries are not the
conservative
driver of
But it's
this
still,
budget.
they're not, those are not emergencies. It's still not considered an emergency.
No,
Every year they must be.
Yeah, totally agree, not emergencies.
But that's what the comptroller, New York State comptroller tells us, is it cannot be increased without, you know, it has to be an emergency. It can't be just randomly because of willy-nilly, whatever we
Right.
wanna do.
Right.
The increases.
This isn't
Yeah.
So-
willy-nilly.
So with our fund balance and our, and where we're at, I'd agree that this is an emergency.
Do you have any dams or?
Well, if we're in such financial distress, then we shouldn't be adding positions, and we shouldn't be changing positions, and we shouldn't be doing 15%.
We're not, we're not in financial distress. You know, 7.25% is a very reasonable number for tax increase.
I mean, but that sets a precedence almost every year now. This is bare bones. We're 7.25%. You want to add an officer, one, or next year, I mean, it's gonna be every year, 7 to 10%. Down the road.
Because we did it 1 year, though?
History
We've
says
done it,
that.
I mean, history shows that we actually fall on the ladder of that and we go
Right.
the opposite way. So I mean, just because we did it 1 year doesn't mean
But
we're
we
gonna
do have-
continue to do it every single year. That doesn't set a precedent. One time
Yeah,
doesn't set a precedent. One time
This
doesn't
this
set
is,
a
this is
precedent.
bare bones and we're going up this much.
7% is not an unreasonable tax increase, given this current situation. If you look at the ECI and CPI, I mean, they're through the roof. The Fed comes out, year-over-year inflation right now is 18%. I mean, everything is through the roof. I mean, and it's not, you know, we're impacted by this like any other company, right? You know, we have to pay for caustic soda and chemicals and the contracts that you folks voted for, the labor unions, which I think were very reasonable contracts. Those two contracts we passed earlier alone put us past the tax cap. I mean, it's a tough year, and I do understand, and I completely sympathize with the point, you know, I get it, I do. That's why I tried to make this as reasonable as I could, so at 7%, we're not only sustaining operations, okay, keeping current level of service delivery to our residents for everything we do, water and sewer rates aren't going up. You know, yes, you're looking at $86 for the year, or for the $100,000 right now for this, so the average home, you know, $100. Yes, and yes, that is $8 to $9 a month. And I get it that that's an expense, but $8 to $9 a month, I gotta believe that's reasonable. I have to believe that's a reasonable ask. And that anybody in this
We're talking
community,
$8-9 a month for the city. We're talking $8-10 a month for county.
We have no control.
We're talking this, you know, we're talking, you know, it all adds up.
So
Yeah, it does.
why again do we have to take that?
Like, yeah,
Right.
we're not obligated to offset them, unfortunately, and everything.
But I'm just
No,
looking
I
at it
know
as a
what you're saying.
homeowner myself.
Yeah.
And
National
as,
Grid goes up
you know,
every year too.
It's,
Right,
I'll
everything's
tell you
going
what,
up,
Yeah.
what was the,
except for water.
from my standpoint,
going
it was
up.
sort of alarming. An epiphany when I was campaigning this past spring, and I was in Steve's ward. I don't know how many people were telling me what they were paying in taxes, and they were considering moving. And I mean, moving out of
Well,
state.
speaking of moving-
Tennessee, South Carolina, Texas, Florida. I mean, I was actually shocked at how many people. I mean, these were people with nice homes. I had one guy in my ward down in Peterborough, he goes, look, very modest, he goes, look what I'm paying for this. He goes, I'm gonna move across the creek into Oneida County. That's what he said. He goes, that's, I'm making that move.
Here
Because
in the city of Oneida, on the
I mean-
south side of the city of Oneida, only the south side of Oneida, I've counted 30 houses in the month of October up for sale. I've counted for sale, just on the south side of Oneida.
and I would argue that part of the reason we're seeing this decline is not Part of it is taxes, absolutely,
Mhm.
but a large part of this is opportunity. So we look at the city of Oneida, what are we doing to invest in ourselves? How are we growing economically and commercially? Like, one of the things I heard when I came on board here, my first month on the job was, Kyle, we need somebody to manage the decay, is what somebody said to me.
Yeah.
I was very honest in my interview with you folks. I'm not here to walk a coffin to that silent good night. That's not me, you know. My sense was, I came here to find a way to move us forward. If you look at Utica 30 years ago, Utica was roughly in Oneida 30 years ago. It was, where we are today. How did they get from there to here? When I say investment in the city, we need to find, and again, this goes back to speaking about salaries, right? Having the right people in those jobs has been critical to not only figuring out a lot of these issues. Water and sewer is a great example of that. Planning is another great example of that. Steve and everything that he's doing there. Having the people to bring in investment into the city is going to be critical to fuel our growth into the future. Single-family housing, important. That's important everywhere. It's really important here. How we get there, that's an investment, right? I would imagine if we have a developer come to us and say, hey, I want to put in 300 houses, but I need you guys to do some sort of a pilot program with us, what are we going to say? We can't afford it. No, we're going to find a way, right? There has to be that initial cost. And again, if we want to look at us and be more like private business, there has to be an investment to grow, right? And I'm with Councilman Winchell, I agree with you. You know, we look at to model ourselves after private business, we have to look at ourselves as investment as well, because that's a two-sided coin.
Mhm.
Yes, we can operate like a private business, but we should also be thinking in terms of fiscal responsibility like a private business. And being responsible also means investing the right way.
Well, who's coming to Oneida to invest?
Well, I just got off the phone with one as I walked in here. Mr. Sturpey's investing quite a bit in the.
Oh, no, Mr. Sturpey is going,
Again, so there are people that are coming in and doing that, and we.
but that's
So, again,
Mr. Sturpey. What about when we got a
We're
lot of
sitting at
vacant
10,000.
properties?
100%.
You know, we got a lot of vacant properties that are not being developed. I mean, just for instance, right up on Route 5 across from burned areas.
So what are we doing to help that though? We can't just keep cutting everything in our city and
But then again,
expecting
we
someone
can't
to
keep
come
raising
save
taxes
us.
for people aren't gonna come here.
Okay, so you talked about housing too, houses for sale. As soon as a house goes up for sale, it is sold. Doesn't matter that they're
I don't
gone.
know, I've seen a lot of
People are
them sitting
moving
for a
into.
while. There have been quite a few sitting for a long time. And just as an example, I've traveled basically all over central New York. And all the other places, all the places I've seen and all the places I've gone, we have got the most people leaving than any other community that I've been to.
I don't know if that's true. When I was looking for houses, there was 14 houses available in the whole city, and that was 6 months ago. I just bought my house without even looking at it because I got outbid so many times on houses in this city. So I don't know how that's possible.
But I see a lot of them sitting.
I can tell you from my personal experience that is not what I found. Respectfully disagree. I mean, there were 2 homes for sale when I looked for a house, and by the time I got to the second one, the first one was sold. So it's.
But
I
again,
still
I
think there is a
counted
market.
30 houses just in the month of October, went up for sale. Not were for sale, went up for sale in just the month of October, just in the south side of Oneida.
But how many of those people that move is related to jobs?
I don't know. You don't know. I was actually gonna try to figure out that
And a
demographic.
lot of those people just relocated.
We don't.
Within Oneida.
And
We
I don't
don't.
think we can point to taxes and say they moved.
But either way, but the fact is.
I know that because I do the deeds
Right after.
with the county.
Correct.
We're getting off topic
Right,
here.
yeah.
How do we figure out how to work within a reasonable amount?
I think 7.25 is reasonable. to be honest with you.
Depends on, I guess.
Yeah, we all have different definitions of reasonable, so. I'm around 3.5, you guys are at like 10, 11, 12, so let's put our heads together.
Again, though, how do we get there?
That's what we need to figure out.
So we want a police officer to, that's 9.7 or 11.7. I would be willing to go back down to the 7.25 and meet you halfway. We'd be right back to where we are right now.
That's not halfway.
Yeah, it is, because I really want the 2 police officers.
That's not halfway.
That's where we started.
That's where we started.
Halfway would be down to like 6.
I think it's reasonable to 7.25. I can't see any place else where we would cut.
don't know.
That's it, that's 15%,
Can't have
2
an
years.
officer.
I guess my point is, I guess if you want us to cut, you gotta tell us what we're getting rid of. I guess, you know what I mean, like if you want us to get down to where you want to be, what,
I rattled off a bunch of things and you said, no, no, no.
You just said, all you said was
that's how it works.
I said, let's look at vacancies.
vacancies. That's,
I said,
There's only
let's
But
start.
none of that gets us even close to where you wanna
Okay,
be.
let's look at maybe instead of 12-15% increases, maybe we look at 3 or 4%.
but again, then we get away from our evaluations. Why do we even have
No, we don't.
evaluations? We
We're
just go
not
right to
getting
3% every year.
And to
It
Kyle's
seems like
point,
everybody got that, though, I mean,
to Kyle's point, we're trying to attract good people, and we have to pay them. We want
You
good
have to
people.
pay them, but I don't think a 12%
they're
increase
being paid very sufficient.
is reasonable. Six at most. 6 at most.
What are our
Because
contracts?
the average raises throughout New York State are between 3 and 6%,
Average,
average.
yeah, that's what ours are. There's a few that are above that.
We have new positions here.
And to Leanne's point, our salaries are less for this budget than they are this current year, correct?
$30,000 less than last year.
Yes.
Our people are our greatest resource, period.
No doubt, no doubt.
Well,
They do a great job. I'm not saying don't give them a raise, I'm saying don't give them a 15%
Yeah.
raise.
So do 3% and keep it
Who are you
reasonable.
looking at?
Which
That's the
position?
15, yeah.
Well, I'm looking at all of them,
no, let's be specific what
Okay.
position are we looking at.
we've got police chief, I got at 12%, we've got you at 25%.
Mine is tax neutral, sir.
How?
Mine is a healthcare buyout.
No,
Healthcare buyout.
no, I'm looking at
It's
your
not
base.
Where do you do with a healthcare buyout?
What do you mean
I
base?
I know of
So-
nowhere where you're offered a position and if you, that's your option. If you wanna take the city's healthcare plan, you take it. If you don't, you wanna keep your own. Just because you don't take the city's healthcare plan doesn't mean the city has to pay you because you had private insurance.
His salary was 120 last year.
Yeah, and just to keep it in perspective, I polled 7 city managers around us with the
We're getting
same.
off topic here. You
No,
guys
no,
asked me what positions I was
You're
looking
talking
at.
about the
You
raise.
talked to the
I'm
city
trying to-
manager,
I'm
you said
trying to
city
get
manager.
Jim just spoke and we're responding to him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Nobody let me finish.
Well,
You're gonna let people
I interrupt.
respond?
Let me
You're not
finish and then anybody can
Oh,
respond.
okay.
So I saw 25% there. Then I'm looking at fire chief, 12%.
Me?
I don't
I don't know.
know. And then
where's mine?
8.7, 6.1.
5% of the salary.
There's nothing else.
So to go
So
back,
again, we did union negotiations with both of those entities, so we're gonna end up having our guys under our chiefs making more than them.
So let's,
So again, you gotta catch them up to match that. I mean, so
Should happen in sports all the time. Players make more than
again, this is not private industry.
They also get what, when they get terminated.
Your coach doesn't make as much as your players.
No, you guys asked me what I thought, I told you.
Yeah, no, we're just telling you what we think too.
so that's where so in the budget, the way it stands right now, it says 150 for my salary, right? We can put my salary at 120 with a healthcare buyout. Okay, that puts me at a full salary of at the 150. But the bulk, the 100% of that increase is from the healthcare buyout.
Right.
The healthcare buyout is mandated, so under New York state law, you have to provide healthcare, right? Everybody that doesn't take healthcare in the city right now gets $3,000 buyout. We make money off of those employees. We're literally making money off of them, right? So what I propose is rather than saying, just give me this in salary, if we call it the healthcare buyout, in lieu of that, that's an increase that is tax neutral because that money is already allocated. No one has to make money off of me. Just to get down to a very fine point, the taxpayer is already paying for my healthcare, one way or another.
right,
That's why I offer that as a tax neutral proposal. I'm trying to save dollars. I don't know where the 25% comes from, but it's probably because it says 150 in the budget, and then there's another.
Yes, 30 on top of that.
Right. That is not my intention. That is not my intention. So,
Well, it's on the agenda next week, isn't it?
Mhm.
So it would be 150
It's not,
less
it's
than
not,
that.
it's not what you're saying though. It's not that increase on this line.
so we can change that to 120 in the budget, just to clarify that. We
Right.
can change that to 120. I will not take a salary raise this year. If that pushes us across the finish line.
No, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You're getting the $30,000 buyout.
But it doesn't put us in a circumstance, does it?
And just to put things in perspective, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read the chart that I emailed you about a month ago for Kyle, for the different salaries, the analysis for the city managers. Kyle is the lowest at 120, with the next lowest being Ogdensburg at 142.5. And then it goes up from there. Geneva is at 177.96.
Are those people that have been in position for years, or is that base
There's,
rate?
Ogdensburg is 1 or 2 years.
Executive leadership experience.
Ogdensburg started in 2023. Geneva started in 2022. Watervillette started in 2024, and he's actually making 182,000. And these are all municipalities with a population of around 10 to 14,000, 10 to 12,000, with the same median income. So we are grossly underpaying Kyle. So if we don't agree to the 150 with the $30,000 buyout, shame on us.
Okay, so we're back to 7.25.
Yes.
So basically, you guys are saying we should concede and
Well,
you guys
as
stay where you're at.
presented. But it's not
No, let's see.
like 0.2%.
Yeah, maybe we sleep on it and.
Yeah.
Sleep on it, then when are we gonna get back together?
Well, I think we need to make a decision, at least what we're gonna do with the tax cap.
Well, we got,
It sounds like no matter what we do, the tax cap's getting over.
So, here's what I don't want, here's what happened last year. The last couple of days through email, we went from like 3% to 7.5. If we increase the tax levy, I don't wanna be in a position where,
We had all talked about 7.5 before the email.
not me,
We talked about it in here.
you guys just decided through email.
we haven't decided any number. We haven't decided 3.5 or 7% before we went to.
I'm not gonna argue with you, but
The emails were regarding the different
this last
options
year?
we had to
About
increase.
Fifth year? Yeah, last year.
No, you, remember you proposed.
I proposed the
Yeah.
budget, and then I said, we need to go to
3% or
this.
something, so.
But again, you didn't,
Right, and
everyone
then
to
I
accept
sent
it, not just
emails
you
out
guys.
because
I mean,
nobody was
that's
doing
not-
anything, so
that's
I
not-
sent out some
the whole council
propositions
needs to accept it.
via email.
No, I'm just saying, you're
Oh, yeah,
proposing,
100%.
as I said,
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was good.
Right.
But it didn't, it went up to 7.5%.
it's the same issue we ran into last year. We had 3 days to discuss a $30 million budget. We said the same thing last year. And then
Should've done
we-
this earlier.
Well, we have budget meetings that are scheduled. We have plenty of time to go look through your budget
Yeah, I looked through it.
and talk to us right now. There's no reason that we're talking about no time to do anything.
Well,
It's
I've
the same
been
thing
asking
that's
for
happened the
5
last
years
6
to get it
years.
in September. So we are where we are, but we need to make a decision. And it doesn't sound like you guys are gonna budge at all, so.
I just don't, other than cutting salaries, what we really do. We need a assessor, we need our positions filled, quotes, I mean, we need them, so.
My problem
I
last
don't
year
know about that, I,
was, what do we do if we do that? Like, you know, if we went even down even farther, what do we do? What, you know, what else even comes out then next year, or what, you know, like they said, just keep doing the same thing every year. same-
Friday the 21st is our deadline.
So at 7.25, where does that put us? Does it put us comfortable? Does it put us ahead of the eight ball, or what?
That puts $10,000 back in the general fund next year.
It puts you in a fiscally responsible position.
it just,
Very
it
fiscally
puts us at neutral,
Yes.
Neutral.
it puts us at
Yes,
neutral.
now,
It's still not a single capital improvement project.
Right.
So next year we'll be in the same position.
well, you have to think about, you're being
Well, if we
reactive
don't
to
do it
the
this year,
years
then we're gonna
before.
be at
This is
15% next year.
This is a result of your 2% and 0% increases, because it escalates over the years. but it should have been raised higher back those years.
Sure, maybe three is
So
reasonable.
where would we,
Right.
Well, we went too many
3, 4.
years.
so, let me ask this question, if we had, I can't do the math in my head, but we were, all the years that we had 0, let's say we did 3% every year, where would we be at today?
We'd be at the 3.5%.
Yeah,
right
we
where
don't
we
have
have
to,
to
we
be.
don't have
We'd
to
be
raise
happy.
it a good another
Yeah.
3%. We're only talking about 6% here. And if we want 3% the year we want 0, that's our. Unfortunately, we gotta catch up this year.
Which is what.
I'm thinking, we have
Caught up last year.
a few vacancies. We're adding a few positions. We have $110,000 in raises for management. If we could somehow look at those, that would bring us down a little bit. I don't know the exact numbers, but
110 includes the 55,000 offset too, remember?
So like we cut employees last year, right? And we added some. How many did we add?
Yeah, we-
Is there like positive not adding this one?
I don't know, I know for management employees, that this year's savings and salaries is $30,000 versus last year's management salaries, but as far as the employees that we had, I'd have to look through the salary schedule.
and this includes so there's 2 codes officer positions.
Correct, our current one and the current vacancy.
Okay, so this says 1, but there's going to be 2.
Correct.
So
No
that-
housing.
so
So
the
no,
house- so the
no
housing is-
housing inspector.
So the housing inspector's gonna go to 78, or is it gonna stay at 54?
It'll be over to 78, that's the 7.25.
It's civil service.
And
Civil service.
is the fire department certified to be able to do housing inspections?
I don't know how much.
Commercial, they can do commercial.
Commercials.
That's union too, as part of the contract.
Well, so that's where it gets tricky. So you do have 2 firefighters who are code enforcement officers. So how you get to develop some sort of, responsibility sharing, I don't know. I think that's.
I actually, when Bob was here, he and I talked about that a little bit, and I also talked with Chief about it a little bit prior, and it'd be almost impossible because of their shift schedule.
Correct. It would, I would agree with you.
And I researched that here about a year ago. And it would be almost impossible. You'd have to have a firefighter that's 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever every day,
We'll have
rather
one
than
of
on
those.
shift.
Chief.
So that'd be pretty much impossible to do.
We did go a very long time with 1 codes person. With
For
with
most
no
of this
second.
year, yeah, we have one.
I'm saying,
You're talking before,
Before-
you're talking before.
we created the department, yeah.
Pat Barron days.
Yeah.
That was
What-
all
no,
under
we
the
had-
fire
we also
department
had
and there wasn't
housing
no
inspector.
codes. Right.
But at the same time, Bob raised the housing
Right.
inspector.
Yeah.
In the fire department.
Yeah,
Just quick on a side note, Kyle, the building on Fell Street,
Yes,
what was the determination on that?
those were removed by hand. That was purposeful.
Even all the stuff that's laying on the ground,
Correct.
that whole corner that looks like it fell.
Yes.
It did not fall. I just got a phone Dave Stewart before I walked in.
We put the barricades up around it and we talked to Dave. We said, hey, you gotta put a tarp over and secure it. You can't do it. Correct.
I just can't, because it looked like that whole corner fell.
100% it did. I saw the photo. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, the building's collapsing. We called them right away and got Jay over there and took a look
But
at it.
He just pointed to that whole building, that
I know they didn't
lift
work,
out there.
but anyway, the reason why I brought that up is to me, it looked like a building collapse, a partial collapse. It looked
Sure.
To me, when I first saw it. But,
Sure.
But then, is 1 codes officer going to be able to? We have a problem in the city of Oneida with deteriorating buildings. And is 1 code officer going to be enough to fix it?
Right, and our revenue line was down in codes because we were short of bodies, right? And potentially that could happen again. If we only had one body, our revenue would go down. Because only one person can only do so much.
I was asking how much for the new code enforcement officer because of longevity, if they was make a little less, but it's only $1,000.
That interview's going for so long.
Would it make sense either tonight or Tuesday night to do an executive session and have you go through, have Kyle go through the management, employee reviews?
I-
that we did?
I don't, if you're not gonna change anything, then there's no point.
That's what Kyle's job is.
Um,
The only thing we can do is, if we're not gonna do it tonight, is, like you said, present an email of like what. I don't know, you know, one day, I think what we can do is come back and talk about it again.
We have time to schedule something, because we can get the legal notice on 2 days, right?
Wednesday too. Fridays are.
Well, that's true too, yeah, we can go after the council.
Right. We could schedule it for Wednesday.
Give everybody time,
We can all
look together
See what
for
you want.
information.
Pick everything out, yeah.
Ask about that one last time.
And we're voting on the tax cap.
Nice.
Tuesday.
So be mindful.
We have a table of that, or
No,
postpone
no.
it.
Can't.
We can't, it's
Yeah.
Wednesday.
The reason we
There's no
can't,
reason we can't do it first, I think, right?
we put this budget
There's
together,
no sense having a meeting, yeah.
Right,
we can't, we don't wanna be in the position we were last year for this budget. Because to do that 2 years in a row,
Saying if we do a budget, it's over the tax levy, then we have to vote on tax levy afterwards. We kinda gotta know about the tax levy to make the budget, basically.
Right.
like,
Because if we, no matter what we agree on today, if we don't vote on that Tuesday, and we go.
But here's what's gonna happen, if the tax levy passes, you guys will do whatever you want.
no, not at all. I'm in complete agreement to find something reasonable.
I just don't know what that is right now.
It's not, unfortunately, it's not the 3.5, but no, I don't want it to 9% either.
No,
I just don't.
I'm good with the way it is right now, 7.25.
See, I'm gonna do
But that's with no officer.
Right, I want an officer.
So,
We're gonna have to find another way.
so,
I'd like 4.
I know.
I would do, oh, I thought you meant 4%. I would do like 4%, if you guys would assure that if we override the tax cap, that you're not gonna go.
Well, we gotta figure out where we're gonna get it from first.
not a chance.
No, I'm
No
not,
way we're gonna go with that.
No.
No.
I think we can agree that, the thing is that we will do the
We need to
officer.
figure out what we're.
Maybe the compromise is if we do the officer and find the officer, we don't go up, maybe that's.
That's what I said.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what we said, but maybe
Say
that's what we,
it's
that's,
7.25,
maybe that's what it is,
we find
that's what it is.
Why don't you let,
I don't know, I'm just trying to find
How much is
somewhere to
it?
be meet in the middle.
How much is an single officer?
2%.
It's 2%.
No,
100K.
what's their salary?
Roughly 100K with the insurance.
With everything,
Yeah.
yeah, 100K,
They're like
everything to get them on board, training.
Yeah.
Can we find 150K somewhere? At least that.
you can't go 1 year without that civilian
But
position?
We did.
If we did 100.5.
The evidence.
So,
Yeah.
again, that's.
We already did.
We'll have to-
Because how many years have we had that? How many years have we?
But again, that just takes the police officer off the road to city
Yeah.
position, so again, we're just kind of.
Yeah. Gave us the whole speech.
Well, right now,
Yeah.
we don't have that position.
And the overtime's what's driving, killing us there. Is that
I
they,
thought we had a dedicated person.
we talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the reason I put it back. It's because of
I see.
not having.
I wonder if we gotta be able to ship something around.
So I mean, take the couple of days and see. I'm not against it, give me some.
Do we need 6 sergeants?
So I mean,
If they're filled,
I know, but I mean, we got retired.
Well,
it's got a lot of new hires. I don't know.
but that might be something to budget. If we have retirements coming.
That you take notes for, payouts for, is we don't make budget of.
Yeah.
We
have time for a
They
public
get paid
notice.
their, well, some of like taking vacation time and things, whatever's contractual for their vacation.
You guys just tell me what you want to do.
but
And then it
Angela,
comes out of the salary lines,
Okay.
we
So
still
it-
have
That's
the
something we gotta
unknown.
look at
kills you.
next year.
Well, yeah, you should.
Well, we
not
need
if we need
Monday,
Monday.
Monday,
Well,
Wednesday.
And then
Well, that's what,
also
right after the tax, we might as well, we gotta have
next week's agenda,
for the.
we're buying a piece of equipment on the tax.
We-
Monday.
We could schedule Monday and Wednesday, and if we don't need Wednesday, we don't.
Is that something that we vote on?
We should just schedule it.
Leaves us
Or it's
Wednesday
next
if
year.
something goes wrong on Tuesday.
Good.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, good.
It's really slow our
Yeah, but-
spending now.
That's why we're not.
Yeah, anything you cut back, but I mean, you know, the fund balance calculation is based on what you've approved, what you've all approved to be authorized. So it could be spent, it may not. We won't know until usually around April, I'd say, you know, after all the bills are paid, and then we do the AFR, and we do that submission, and hopefully can get our annual audit done earlier in the year rather than where we are now. And you maybe your expenses were not what was authorized, maybe, you know, the departments didn't spend everything that you've authorized, and you'll be in a better position. But unfortunately, you have to look at a position where you've already authorized it, so every one of them could go out there and spend it all.
Well, for next week's agenda, we authorized it for overtime.
So he could spend it,
you
it
know?
may get spent.
But then
Right.
why would we transfer it from overtime to a piece of equipment?
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, it's already budgeted and it's already approved, so you have no guarantee
Right.
that you could use it next year.
Right.
Right, you know what I mean?
I know there's no guarantee, but do us a favor and maybe we can use that towards next year.
Yeah, yeah, that's something we can vote on Tuesday, we can all
Yeah.
keep that in mind, when we're looking at something.
But it's good to talk about, so we don't throw a wrench in it on Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
How's everybody for meeting on Monday? Sandy can get a public notice in
But
time.
for Sunday paper, so we can get it done before the meeting.
I don't know if I can, but I will try my best.
Well, I don't wanna have it, if no, I always-
Frank?
We should have scheduled one for Wednesday also, just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah, we can do Wednesday.
Yeah.
if necessary.
Wednesday.
Can we just do both? and
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it-
Yep.
Monday,
If necessary.
Monday's, Wednesday's tentative.
Monday's definite.
Yeah, I think it depends what happens Tuesday.
I just wanna make sure everyone's here.
Oh, I mean, unless you
I'm
definitely can't do Monday, we'll make it work, cause obviously we have to.
Yeah, so.
Well,
Can you
Whatever.
can you do it like 6:30,
Maybe
a half hour later?
Or what was
Let
it, I
me,
can do
let me see.
seven,
But let me,
Yeah.
maybe I can call in.
whatever you gotta do.
Oh,
Either way, if it works better Wednesday, we'll do it Wednesday.
All right.
I'm just saying, I can do whatever, you tell me where to be.
I'd rather do it before.
I'd rather try to do
Yeah.
it before
Yeah.
Tuesday, but,
Well, let's try
yeah,
it.
whatever.
What if we could drop it down to 65? I'd rather find a percent.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
If you could do that, Kyle, I'd
Plus,
Well, is that
is that with the
625
officer?
with an officer?
No?
No, let's.
So
with
we've
it
gotta
up.
find,
Can you do 625 with it up?
you can, but
That's,
Think about it.
Yeah,
Give
I
that
mean,
to-
yeah,
That's
let
what,
me,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, let's-
let me do some things, let me just
Everybody take their
Yeah,
time.
that would be great.
yeah.
That's why I
so
wait
we
the
can
officer.
get
Yeah.
it down to
we
like
can go
Monday.
next, we're going, say
Yeah.
we can get it 5.
Let me, let me work on it. Let me, I will, I promise. We can.
And we can all look through it too, but
So I mean,
give
everybody
us
can
some
do data,
ideas.
we can talk to the
Thanks,
chief.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you.
Everybody good?
I think so.
Motion to adjourn,
Motion?
all in favor?
Aye.